our fellow listeners. Welcome into the Saturday spinny edition of the Field of 60. What?
It's not St. Patrick's Day.
It's celebrated in Chicago today, Jim. I get it.
Trust me, you live in Chicago. You walk outside right now. It is basically St. Patrick's Day. It's been hijacked, whatever the official day is.
Confuse the listeners who are like, wait a second, does he think it's really St. Patrick's Day?
No, our listeners, Jim, are social butterflies. They're all celebrating properly today as the official weekend celebrate St. Patrick's Day. But hey, it's the Field of 68 Best Bets show. We talk college basketball. We break down the lines, locks, leans, and the like. The other guy's Jim. The other guy is Kai. A lot of games yesterday. Jimbo, I'll start with you. You must have learned a thing or two.
No, I didn't learn anything, Matt. Everything confirmed exactly what I expected yesterday.
You're a poor student.
No, I learned quite a bit. I learned that Auburn cannot win a national title because they lost in the quarterfinals of their conference tournament. Hasn't been done. No one's done that since at least 1985. So they joined Baylor and Illinois. Several other teams that bowed out. Wisconsin. Sorry, Badgers. I think that's a bad trend. I think it's kind of indicative. You need to be playing somewhat well going into the tournament. And the reason Auburn almost got back in that game is because of Wendell Green shooting, but the reason they were down 20 was Wendell Green and Katie Johnson's shooting. So I have serious concerns about Auburn going forward, Kai.
Well, gosh, my takeaway is the bubble intrigue is getting, very, very intriguing. We had Indiana win yesterday. We had Virginia Tech win yesterday. We had Texas A&M, who's not dead in the water quite yet. If they beat Arkansas today, they might be there. Teams like Xavier, teams like Wake, teams like name an ACC school not named Virginia Tech are getting very nervous right now as these teams are still alive and playing for tourney berths. So it's going to be very exciting, Matthew, today. I cannot wait. One of the best college basketball days ever.
I want to pour one out for VCU.
Ever.
They're done. My bubble boys they lit their hopes on fire yesterday. Yep.
Jim, can I turn that 180? Let's go Spiders, baby. I'm all in on this Richmond run. Everyone's forgotten about them the last 2 years. Mooney's getting fired. Are they going to get there? They blow games. They're 2 wins away from Dancetown. So I think the Spiders are going. My takeaway was
we're
refereeing.
We're St. Louis boys. We're rooting for.
I'm not a Bills guy though. Not a Bills. Never adopted the Bills. My takeaway, though, is that refereeing has to improve. This whole block charge thing's gotten out of control. Jim, as you mentioned, as you tweeted out, I should say so properly, let's let the players decide the outcomes. We don't need the Zebras to step in and get involved. Let's stay outside the boundaries. All right, let's get into it. Outline, tons of questions already coming through the chat mob inquiries. Before we go any further, please hit the like button right now. Stop what you're doing. Quit typing. Quit drinking your coffee. Please hit that like button instantly. Thank you. Jim, coming to the West Coast, Arizona, UCLA starts off our outline today. Big news, obviously, is the Wildcats without Kirkissa, their spark plug, their enigmatic leader there at the point of attack. And UCLA, man, I've doubted them the last couple of games, and they have promptly silenced me. Been very impressive. Seems like they're getting a little bit healthier. What are you looking at with this Pac-12 showdown?
Well, Matt, there was a rogue opener out here in Vegas that had UCLA favored, and I thought that was wild. Arizona was laying 7 points in Tucson. Okay, 3 or 4 for home, down to 4. Is Kriisa worth 5 points? He's not worth 5 points to me. I think he's excellent, but between Dalen Terry, Justin Kier, Pelle Larsson, they have some decent playmakers to fill in that role. And man, their front court is good. We saw it yesterday. Tubelis was fantastic. Koloko was great. Got away from Colorado late, relatively impressive. I kind of lean towards Arizona here. I get it with UCLA. They have been playing better. Jaquez has been just on a tear.
Yes. Yep. Monster.
Tiger Campbell was on fire last night. But I'm still leaning towards Arizona. I believe in this team. No, Kriisa does hurt because of not just the shot making, but like the swagger, the attitude he brings on the court. Maybe he can still bring that from the sideline, get his boys amped up. I would be slightly into the Wildcats there, considering where the line is at, only 1.5, Kai.
Yeah, interesting. We got kind of chalk in the Pac-12. Got the 1 and 2 seed. I guess that was kind of expected. With
the only upset was Stanford over Arizona State.
That's right, a 9-8. Yeah, interesting. No Kriisa worries me here, guys. I think Arizona locked up a 1 seed yesterday with the win. I don't really see them falling off. Maybe Kansas and Kentucky both get up there and they fall off with Baylor, but I think Arizona's there already. I don't know if that's motivation either way, but just stating the facts here. UCLA did beat USC yesterday by 10 in a 61 possession game. Yeah. That's impressive. Jim mentioned Jaquez. He was great. Their defense was great. They split the season series with Arizona during the year. I actually kind of think UCLA wins this, Matt. They have the size to battle Arizona's bigs, and they have just as much offensive talent. Without Carissa, I think edge UCLA.
I like the under. I have no take on the side. I think this game gets a little bit lower scoring. I think UCLA wins the old the pace battle. I think the shot quality metrics point to both teams. I think missing some shots they've made recently. So I just like an under championship game of a conference title. So
that might be a chorus, a refrain of this episode.
Yep. Get ready for that track on repeat, I guess. All right, Kai. Next game, Big 12, Texas Tech, Kansas. Saw the Red Raiders compete admirably with the Jayhawks in Fog Allen, taking them double overtime despite being shorthanded. They beat them in Lubbock. It seems like from a matchup angle, they kind of have Kansas's number. David McCormick has been a shell of himself, obviously not fully healthy, but Mitch Lightfoot is apparently Shaq in this tournament so far. So can that keep going today? Is there like a real, a real option or source of offense to play inside out through Mitch Lightfoot?
Well, no, I don't think so. But
good answer.
Sorry, Mitch. I wanted to hype you up there. I had to put him on the pedestal for a hot sec.
Kansas has looked very impressive these last two tourney games. I mean, they took care of TCU with ease. So maybe they're getting back to that national championship contender that we thought KU was for most of the year. Texas Tech squeaked by Oklahoma. They pulled it out. They appear fully healthy, Jim. That's big for Texas Tech. Obviously, Shannon and McCullough are both playing healthy minutes there. I think it's close, but I'm going to give the lean to Kansas here. They're the much better offensive team. KU has that size to stop the basket attack interior play. Texas Tech prefers. They can't really shoot. So I'm leaning towards Texas Tech, Jim. I mean, Kansas, excuse me.
Yeah, I kind of came into this tournament saying I don't really buy what Kansas is doing. I'm not picking up what they're putting down, and they told me to shut it. Two excellent performances so far. Been really, really impressed with them. We kind of talked about how, like, all right, maybe this Kansas team just isn't going to peak. And look, here they are running through the Big 12 tournament. We mentioned how they're like semi-home-ish games. They've got a great atmosphere there in Kansas City. I think that does give them a little bit of boost. Did you guys see the Agbaji dunk yesterday, by the way?
Yeah, it was wild.
Inbound, it was number one in top 10 plays, Kai. I highly encourage you to check it out. Total posterization lob off the inbound. It was ridiculous. So yeah, in spite of what I thought coming into this tournament, here I am accepting new information and changing my mind.
Wow,
I'm leaning
so
towards
adaptable.
Kansas as well. Yeah. I came in saying Texas Tech would win this event, but their little nervous meltdown yesterday where they almost let Oklahoma win, and then Kansas's performance has allowed me to swing towards the Jayhawks.
Mm-hmm. I lean that way as well, but nothing profound. I think you guys hit all the relevant points. Let's keep cruising. Too much to talk about to belabor anything, Mr. McKeon. Going to you for the Big East title. Creighton, Villanova. How about these Jays? The Ryan Nembhard down Jays hasn't mattered. Arthur Kaluma, a man possessed. Ryan Kalkbrenner, the reigning Big East Defensive Player of the Year, has owned the paint. But Nova was just up to the challenge against a pretty formidable interior front line with UConn yesterday, squeaking by the Huskies to advance. What are you looking at here? Short spread or not high enough?
Well, first of all, incredible job by Greg McDermott in general, getting the fourth seed in the Big East tournament with one of the youngest teams in the country, then going 3-2 without Ryan Nembhard and destroying Providence after handling Marquette is just wow. That's an incredible coaching job. Credit to the players, obviously, as well. But that's incredible. Having said that, Jim, I think this is where the train ends. Nova is simply too good to beat without Ryan Nembhard. Defensively, Nova is incredibly sound. I'm not worried about Kalkbrenner inside. The guard play edge is now huge in favor of Villanova, and Creighton ball handling could get exposed in this game. Spread's big. It's warranted. I lean towards Villanova.
Yeah, I think it's too many points. At 7, I'm kind of leaning towards Creighton. They have been very feisty. Villanova with the Samuels back spasms and Dixon dealing with his nausea or whatever. Like maybe they're just kind of not limping through because obviously they've been excellent and gotten victories, but they're gutting out wins. That's what it feels like to me rather than like totally on their A game. So I'm leaning towards Creighton. They went on a 35-4 run against Providence yesterday. It was absolutely ridiculous. Ryan Hawkins has been fantastic. Kalum has been really good since he came back from his injury. And I guess they've dealt with the point guard slot pretty well. So, yeah, I think Creighton can keep it close-ish. And even if they get down 10, they'll do what every single underdog has done. Fight back, get close, and get inside that number. That would be my guess, Matthew.
Jim, and that is why I'm going to off the hip at best bet Villanova. First half, remove the second half nonsense variance in the equation. -3.5 is the consensus price at most shops. I think Creighton
what's it at BetRivers, Matt?
-3.5. That's all that matters. You're right. The other shops don't matter. Thank you for reminding me. Company man here. I just think it's too short. I think this Villanova team is poised and ready to have a strong performance today, but mostly Creighton just emptied the bullets in the chamber yesterday. That was a massive run against Providence. There's just no way they're going to hold up again. They know they're in. It's a young team. Certainly, you can see them coming out and laying an egg here, especially in a flat spot maybe to start off. And you're right, they probably can scrap and claw back late, but hey, that's why we take first halves. Remove that second half variance nonsense. All right, last game here before we go to the outline. I'm sorry, the chat mob round one, Jim. Duke, Virginia Tech. Devils survived a scare against the Canes. The same defensive issues continued to reemerge, but they did get it done. And then Vatek promptly silenced a UNC team I was saying was on a tear and down to maybe even steal the ACC title crown. So the Hokies have my attention again. What are you looking at in this matchup?
Me?
Jim.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I was
Jim.
tracking chat.
I choose
Mob.
Jim.
My mistake.
Front row, Jim, please.
Matt, again, this is kind of like the last game. I think Duke has been limping through this tournament. Really not impressive so far, to me at least. And Virginia Tech's been awesome, and they're rolling. They have played slow games. Granted that the fourth game in 4 days is tough, with the first one being in overtime, but they play slow games. They've actually been playing more of their bench than I expected. They've been going like a legitimate 8 deep. It's not 5 plus some change. So a little bit of respect to there. And it just feels like, Kai, with the tough to prepare for short turnaround here, Virginia Tech's complex offense is something I trust more than Duke just kind of throwing talent at the walls here. So I'm leaning towards the Hokies again. I like a lot of dogs. I like a lot of unders today. That's where my head's at.
Yeah, Virginia Tech might have played their way into the tournament already, but why leave it to chance, Matthew? Might as well beat Duke too and just remove all doubt here. Duke has had 2 scares in a row, Syracuse and Miami. This is on the heels of the UNC loss. They don't look great right now. These two teams met back in December, all the way back then, the ACC weird conference play. Duke won that handily, but Virginia Tech did have an 8-point lead in the second half.
Yeah,
they could have gotten there. They're 11-2 over the last 13 games, playing very well right now. I'm worried about the interior. I'm worried about Aluminum Mutts handling Williams, John, Banchero. That seems like a pretty big mismatch, but the coaching matchup, I think, is a mismatch as well. I think Virginia Tech has a better coach here. I lean towards the Hokies. Yeah,
Kai, you mentioned that first matchup. I thought Virginia Tech did a great job of making Duke into jump shooters, but Duke went with a small ball lineup in that game. I think they played Griffin a ton, didn't really play Mark Williams a lot, and Duke just spread him out and drove him. But still, I thought it was a decent defensive game plan from Mike Young. I think he comes out with something similar today. I actually lean Virginia Tech. I've been playing Duke, I think, stubbornly the last couple of weeks. I actually like Vatek in this matchup in this spot. Parallels, I think, to Creighton and Indiana today, where I think teams have gotten big wins in the tournament. They think they're probably in. Did they crack today? Did they kind of let their foot off the gas at the first sign of adversity? I'm curious to see how all 3 of those teams play in somewhat similar matchups today. Jim, it's time for Chat Mom. I apologize for throwing the ball to you while you're rounding up the questions, but now it's your time to shine. Now
I got to be able to multitask. I would have razzed you hard.
Well, I wouldn't have. I would have fumbled that. So I
got to wear it. All right. Multiple people asking about Texas A&M and Arkansas, saying the Aggies match up well with Arkansas, and honestly, they do. Beat them once, lost in overtime. It's been pretty impressive. Kai, they have won like 7 straight since Marcus Williams got hurt. Additions by subtraction. Do you think the Aggies get another huge victory for their at-large hopes today?
Man, it's hard to think that they win this game, especially how well Arkansas is playing. And frankly, I'll admit they played great against LSU yesterday. LSU played like crap, but that's a lot of credit to Arkansas as well. No Ty is incredible, absolutely unstoppable in that game. I think A&M can hang around. I'm not going to take the points of them. I'm not going to take +6 because I don't want to fade Arkansas. I'd say it's possible, Jim. I'm very squarely on the fence.
Yeah, I think they could win, and +6 is decent. Again, I lean a lot of dogs and a lot of unders. I think the Aggies are another solid one there. They've got a lot of depth, so I'm not like too concerned about playing so many games back to back. And Matt, you mentioned yesterday, Quentin Jackson has emerged into a star. His stat lines are ridiculous.
Pogo stick hops.
Yep, crazy highlights. Matt, you get the MAC title game. MAC,
yeah, I do.
MAAT over there. No Iona here, surprisingly, but St. Peter's, Monmouth. What are you leaning here?
I'm surprised they opened the summer what they did. I was leaning a little bit harder toward to Monmouth. I thought I'd get a little bit more than 3, though, just given how well St. Peter's has played, Kai. I still like the Hawks at +3, but I was hoping to catch like 4 or 5. Just, again, given how well the Peacocks have played. I think they're one of the best ATS teams in the country. They've quietly been really good.
Hey, it's one of my best bets. Monmouth +3.
Spike.
One of my best bets. I think it should be closer to pick. Straight value play from me. Dogs and Mac play. Monmouth +3. Boom.
We love it. Let's go Hawks. Kai, Ivy League tips off today.
Yes.
Benny, one of one, likes Cornell, I think it's what he'd said, but Cornell Princeton.
They're playing.
Around a 6-point spread. What do you think?
They're already playing. It's probably first half over.
Goodness gracious.
37-22, or no, sorry, 37-24.
That's it. Yeah, that bet's not looking great
style
for Cornell in the first half. I'll say that.
Not at all. All right, pivoting. Matt, A10 semifinals, SLU and Davidson. Chat kind of thinks SLU gets rolled. Actually, there's mixed opinions here. What do you think happens in this one?
I lean Davidson pretty hard. I mean, they dismantled them without Foster Lair in the regular season. I wasn't very impressed with SLU yesterday. I thought the Bonnies played pretty poorly, all things considered, and they still had a chance to win the game. This SLU team's gritty, but there's real holes. And if you just guard Gibson, Jimerson, you have a chance to beat SLU every time you take the floor. But St. Bonaventure didn't figure that out yesterday. Took too many big daggers to realize that.
Yep. Over and over, let him get open, including on the very final bucket of the game, just letting him come off a screen on a baseline out of bounds.
Yeah, easy play. Wasn't hard.
Switch screens, fellas. Come on. All right. Next game, Indiana, Iowa, Kai, from Matt Arch. Matt does not get to talk about his alma mater. He can rejoice in the fact that they're going to be in the NCAA tournament. I'm going to you here.
Yeah, we're spoiling both my best bets, Jim?
Sure am.
Mr. Czar here. Yeah, Indiana. Best bet
these
number
are the questions
2.
that are being asked about. There's only like 5 or 6 questions. It's actually not that popular of a chat day, surprisingly.
Indiana +5.5 is my second best bet. Again, I think the spread's just a little bit too high. Look, roughly the same spread between Indiana and Illinois. Do you think Iowa is as good as Illinois? I don't think Illinois is as good as, or Iowa is as good as Illinois. So I'm taking the value here. Indiana +5.5.
Let's keep the run going, Indiana.
Jim, really good question from the or comment in the mob mentioning, I forgot who said it. Iowa feels like last year's UCLA. Like they've just gone to a different stratosphere, and maybe that's a foreshadow of what's to come.
Can I disagree with that? UCLA lost 4 of their 5 games entering the tournament. They were terrible entering the tournament.
Yeah, they were. That's a good point. That's fair.
Maybe they're having the run that UCLA had, but like a week earlier.
They turned it on a little earlier. Yeah.
They're blowing their load. They're blowing their load.
There you go. Matthew, you can talk about your arch rival, North Carolina. We're taking on Virginia Tech. Oh, we just did that. Gosh, the questions are.
Let's holster them, Jim. Let's just go back to rundown.
Yeah, back to rundown. I'm off my game as chats are today, guys. I apologize. I'll wear it. Matthew, take over.
Jim, it's the hardest job of any of the 3 here, right? You have the host, the sort of passenger third wheel, and then you have Jets. Czar's by far the hardest, no question. So you're fine. Just take the course. Yeah, third wheel's the best. You get to make fun of everyone else. Kai, I'm going right to you, though. So stay sharp, stay on your toes. San Diego State, Boise State, we're talking the Mountain West title game in Jim's neck of the woods. I've been an Aztec believer since the start of this tournament. I still think the best team in this conference. The number opened -2, another low total. Again, these Mountain West unders, just low scoring environment, teams that play drag out rock fights. It seems to be amplified when you pit them against each other. I do lean under, even though it's a low number, and I do like the Techs. Where are you?
Yeah, San Diego State's been awesome. They're 10-1 in the last 11 games. Now 6-5 against the spread. So is there value here on the dog in Boise? I think so. I don't know if San Diego State should be favored. Defense wins championships, Jim, and frankly, that's what San Diego State does best. Number 1 in the country. They allowed another game under 1 point per possession against Colorado State. 59 and 60 possessions San Diego State has played in the Mountain West tournament so far. I mean, they're making these crawls, and we know that Boise San Diego State will be a crawl, Jim, because we have precedents, 2 games already this season. I think I'm going to kick it to you right there, and I'll holster.
Love it, Kai. You did a much better job setting me up than I did setting you up. Under, best bet. Yeah, love it. 117 at BetRivers right now. I am very okay with that number. I think this struggles to hit 100. The slowdown of conference finals, the overvaluation of possessions, or correct valuation of possessions, I guess, combined with the way both of these teams play, the way both of them can defend each other. Yeah, I'm in on the under. I think this is going to be a crawl, as you mentioned. San Diego State, man, they looked better than I expected yesterday. Maddie Bradley is hitting big shots for him, but I would still probably lean towards the dog in terms of a side, but I'm not betting it. I'm just taking the under, Matthew. I think we see very few points once again in the Mountain West. It's been a consistent trend.
Speaking of such trends, Jim, we're going to Conference USA title game, the Frisco Disco. Man, if you bet unders in this conference tournament yesterday, you were feeling pretty good about yourself until, of course, triple overtime ruined one of those in dramatic fashion. Hard to say if UAB was a bad beat. Can't really say that when you're in triple overtime, but when you're up 12 and then the old refs double technical plus the 3 at the buzzer, I was not a happy camper. Jelly Walker's a star, Jim, but so is Chris Lofton on the other side. Sorry, Chris Lofton. Kenny Lofton, excuse me, Junior Lofton, as he's come to be known, not the base stealer for the Cleveland Indians. I lean toward the dog here, Jimmy. I kind of like La Tech. I've been a UAB backer recently, but I think La Tech's the side.
I do too. Yesterday, I kind of felt the same way. Like, I don't know if they've just been undervalued in some metrics or have their value has gotten low, but with that, the opening line yesterday with La Tech felt crazy, got bet down. I kind of feel the same way today. And like you said, UAB is off a triple overtime game. That's no easy turnaround. They also played the later game yesterday. But once again, I'm riding the under. Second best bet of the day. Under in the Conference USA. I think the shooting background is really difficult. I think coming off a 3 overtime game, even for a team with the depth that UAB has, Kai, I think there's incentive to play slow. Number right now, 135. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
I just think Louisiana Tech too is more an up-tempo team, and look at the totals in their Conference USA games. They've been really, really low. I think it's just everything is slowing down in that building, riding with that trend.
Yep. I think it's a great bet, Jim. I'm sad about the mean green in general in this conference. But we have two great candidates here for the dance. I think La Tech or UAB would be a great addition to the field of 68. Lofton's been in the shadows this season after taking the media by storm with Team USA. He's still there, fellas. He rocks. He's awesome to watch.
He was making jumpers yesterday too. It was nice.
Yeah, he's a great player. And then of course UAB has Jelly Walker, who is incredibly fun to watch. My God, he put UAB on his back in that 3 overtime game against Middle Tennessee. Are we worried about legs? Jim mentioned UAB is a fairly deep team, but 4 guys played over 43 minutes. Michael Ertl played 54 minutes yesterday.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Even if you're in really good shape, which these guys are, that's still pretty tough, especially when you have to play at a high level against Louisiana Tech today. Matt, UAB did sweep La Tech during the season. They actually kind of dominated them in both games. UAB has that size with Jemison to match up with Lofton. Guard play, I say more so of a toss-up. Probably lean towards UAB. The athleticism is there. Coaching, toss-up as well. I'll go minus +3. I lean towards Louisiana Tech, but it's mainly because of that triple overtime game. I think UAB is a very tough matchup for La Tech.
Yeah, I mean, Rich Homie Quan Jackson, our guy, I mean, everywhere, just a Tasmanian devil out there. He had 10 rebounds yesterday, had 14 the game before, also had 4 steals yesterday, to go on with 16 points. So just an absolute Swiss Army knife. I hope to see him and Jelly in the tourney, but I think I'd be fine seeing Junior Lofton there as well. And again, I do lean that way. Jim, going to you for the MAC title game. Kent State versus Akron. Man, the Flashes have been unbeatable, invincible the last few weeks. I don't see any reason why their momentum halts today against an Akron team I'm just still not a believer in. I've been fading them consistently, and while it's burned me the last 2 games, seems like the early money agrees. Open -1 Kent State, now up to -3. What are you looking at?
I want to say I'm surprised to see these teams, but if I'm doing hindsight analysis and seeing with 2020, these are the teams most capable and most comfortable playing in a half-court game. I think Kent State's defense is the best. The interior defense in particular is the best in the league. Akron is the slowest team in the league, has maybe the best front court. The difference has been Akron's gotten awesome play from Castaneda, who I think is kind of like a
so weird,
dodgy, up and down, tough to trust guy. But when he's playing well, that really takes this team to a new level. Obviously, Carey is great for Kent State. He's consistent player of the year in the league. I'm leaning towards Kent State here. They are rolling, like won a bunch of games in a row against everybody in this league. I think because of some of the guard play advantages they have, they're not going to be intimidated by the interior play. Like the interior combo for Akron's great. But Kai, I'm going with Kent State. The steam has been on them. So at 3, I don't know if I'm quite willing to lay it, but I'm close. I like the Flashes.
Yeah, they're 14-0 since January 21st, Jim. And they're 11-3 against the spread. They're hot, they're rolling, and it's really clear to see why. I agree. Hindsight, I'm not sure about Akron, but Kent State. I mean, they're super balanced. Carey is the player of the year, runs point. They have big wings. They have legitimate big men in Hamilton.
Yeah, bigs are great.
Hamilton's tall, block shots. Beck is just burly, can outstrength anyone in this conference. And Akron plays to the post, Matt. You can't do that against Kent State. It's not going to work. They do get to the line. That's Kent State's concern. Kent State fouls a lot. Akron gets the line, I think, at the 4th highest rate in the country. That could be their downfall. Obviously, Akron has the MAC defensive player of the year in Freeman. But Kent State, again, so balanced. They can beat you in so many different ways. I'm not worried about their interior getting taken away because I trust Sincere Carey. I think it's a big difference in talent, frankly. So I'm rolling with the better, more talented team, the hotter team, Kent State.
Yeah, what I love about Kent State is they have two guards, Malik Jacobs and Andrew Garcia, that play like bigs, the way they crash the glass. It's just a different type of team. You're not used to having to defend the glass against 5 invaders, and that's like it's 4 really, because Carey usually leaks back, but like they're just so tough to keep off the boards. Akron did a decent job in both games this season and the regular season, so maybe it's not a bloodbath inside like I initially thought. I lean Kent State though. I'm just not trying to get in the way of the steam right now. It's too hot. Jim, last one on the outline here. It's Big Sky Championship Showdown. Montana State, Northern Colorado, Steve Smiley, Danny Sprinkle, 2 coaches we love.
2 great
I lean
names.
Bobcats. Yeah, great last names. I mean, who doesn't love those dudes? And they're taking their programs to unprecedented heights. You love to see it. I lean the Bobcats here. I know you mentioned that there's some injury concerns with Jabril Bello, who's been playing with a wonky knee. I know he was getting looked at after the game, but his backup, whose name I cannot pronounce, has been phenomenal. Great Osabor. Great Osabor. That's right. I thought it's all right. Good. I thought it was a different pronunciation the first time, but he's been incredible. And it's funny. This league's like the league of English big men. And Montana State's got 2 great ones up front.
Yeah, I lean towards Montana State as well, but the number is a little high. Like I was just thinking, this will be -1, -2. I'll pick the winner, but seeing 4, 4.5 has me nervous. Both these teams really squeaked by yesterday, close games.
Yep.
So I have a hard time seeing Montana State like really getting away from Northern Colorado. Bodie Hume fouled out late for the Bears. I think that kind of hurt them coming with the back door for Portland State. So yeah, Kai, lean towards Montana State. I think they have arguably the better coach. I like them both though, quite a bit. So I'll go Bears as the 1 seed and the favorite, but I'm not laying the points.
Please let Montana State win this game. This is the only Big Sky team that can do any damage in the NCAA tournament, in my opinion. They have size, super athletic wings, talented guards, a great coach in Danny Sprinkle, and most importantly, what Northern Colorado lacks, they're great defensively. They're super physical. You're going to war with them when you play against them. Northern Colorado is fantastic on offense. They have that Jeff Linder style of play, but they're among the worst defensive teams in the country. I think that comes back to bite them in this game. Matt, they have played 2 games this year, these 2 teams. Both of them were 2-point games. They're both close. So I agree. This 4.5-point line seems pretty high, especially on a neutral floor in a tournament setting like this. But I think Montana State does have the goods. They're going to run shooters off the line, funnel them into the shot blockers in the middle. I just worry about how hot Northern Colorado can get because they certainly can.
Yeah, again, as I said, my gut lean Montana State. And then you look at the number a few more times, it's like, God, 4 does feel high. I took Northern Colorado first half. I worry that their lack of bench could bite them if this game gets into a grind late in the second half. But Dalen Coots, man, 36 points last night. Dude's an absolute killer, former Colorado down transfer. And then on the other side, Raekwon Battle, the former Washington down transfer, has been an engine for the Montana State offense. So both teams, again, benefiting from those power conference, high caliber talents acquisitions this offseason.
I like the intel from Eric here in the chat. He's at the game yesterday, said Montana State contingent was huge and like no Northern Colorado fans for what it's worth.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe a half point for the home court doc there. All right. Outline done. Jim, let's keep doing it. Chat mob questions.
Hey, I get a chance to be better today. That's great. I get a chance to bounce back. Matt,
we're
going to you for the SWAC final. Texas Southern, Alcorn State. Somehow Alcorn is there after the insane Prairie View A&M game. This feels like a coaching edge for Alcorn, but man, the talent edge tips a little bit towards Texas Southern. What do you think?
I'm looking at their 2 regular season matchups. Texas Southern actually protected the ball against Alcorn, which is wild. I kind of like Texas Southern here. I hate going against the coaching edge you mentioned, Jim, but I think they're the better team.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The fun thing here is if Linnell Henry can keep up his dominance of the SWAC tournament. He was great at Prairie View A&M winning SWAC tournaments, and now he's doing it at Alcorn. Kai, we've got questions on both AAC semifinals. I am dishing you Tulane Houston to start. Relatively big spread here. Obviously, Houston down or doesn't have many guards, not a lot of depth. But no Jalen Cook likely for Tulane. He dressed yesterday, but did not even warm up. So I'm kind of anticipating not playing. What do you think?
I'm impressed Tulane has gotten this far without Cook.
I know.
That's impressive. They have other players, but he is super important to their team. Ron Hunter is a fantastic coach. 13.5 is a lot, man. I think it's too much for Ron Hunter. Now you saw Houston extend late. They were not covering that entire game against Cincinnati, ended up taking over in the second half. That's what they can do. They can truly dominate teams. So don't feel comfortable with the green wave map. That's the way I'd lean.
So I'm just distracted watching Vermont lay the wood to UMBC. So congrats to those of you. A lot of mobsters had first half. Looks like that's an easy cash.
Matt, lock in for the other AAC game here. Memphis SMU. SMU swept the regular season meetings here. Is that indicative of a huge matchup edge, or is it kind of a little bit fluky? The first game was the not as strong edition of Memphis. What do you think?
Right. No, I think it is. I think the size gives that smaller SMU lineup some issues, and they have the perimeter foot speed to keep pace and corral Kendrick Davis and those wings.
Swept both matchups.
Oh, SMU. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I think that's a fluke then. I think Memphis has the better matchup edge. I'm surprised that happened. Again, I just think that the Weathers bros and Davis, they're prolific, they're talented, but they can be beaten with sides. And I think Memphis can negate that.
Yeah, and Memphis feels like they're just kind of rolling right now. They've figured it out. I'm impressed with the Tigers. Kai, we've got some big semifinal matchups to hit in some big conferences. People are mad we haven't hit them yet, but Michigan State, Purdue, a couple questions there. Purdue maybe not as sharp as we would have thought yesterday against Penn State. It was playing a couple games in a couple days, back-to-backs. What do you think about this one?
6.5. I would say there's value on Michigan State, but I think Purdue can roll them. I lean towards Purdue.
Yeah, this is another one where I kind of just default to dog. I can't help it.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Yeah, I'd probably default to dog in most of these matchups, honestly.
Matthew, Tennessee, Kentucky, like a top 10 matchup in the entire country, like two great teams, and we're getting to them in Chat Mob Part 2. That's how great today's slate is. What do you think? That the first two games between these two were outstanding. Do we get a third classic?
I like Kentucky. I think it's a close game, though. The key thing I've mentioned or I've read some about is Kennedy Chandler's injury. I didn't get a chance to watch them play yesterday, but he obviously matters a ton. I know they have other creators with Ziegler and to a lesser extent Vescovy, but Chandler is a game changer in the backcourt. So I think they need him. And with him at less than 100%, I lean UK pretty strong at 2.5.
I do too. Even if he's in there, I kind of would have thought I like Kentucky a little more. And now with that potential injury concern, that makes me even lean harder towards Big Blue. So, hey, a favorite that I actually like. How about that, guys? Kai, let's go MEAC final. Matt did the SWAC. You get the MEAC. Juan Dixon and Coppin State are in the final. Yeah. What a run. Jesse Zarzuela actually was great yesterday after his dud in the quarters. But Norfolk is the class of this league. What do you think?
I think +8, I would take Coppin. With Zarzuela in the lineup, they are very good. They competed with really, really good teams in the non-conference portion. We were saying how impressed we were the entire year with them heading into conference play. I think it's Norfolk's game to win. I would lean towards Coppin on the cover.
All right, Matt. The WAC, the Wild Wild WAC. New Mexico State, Abilene Christian. I tweeted this morning, but Abilene Christian could be the third team in the past 25 years to force 80-plus turnovers in one conference tournament. They need to force 18 today to do that. Do they turn over these Aggies, or does New Mexico State's kind of resurgence in this tournament, does that show that they're going to dominate this game again?
Yeah, I've been backing the Aggies on repeat the last couple of weeks. I actually like ACU at the current number. We've bet up to 5.5. I think it's pretty high. I know it's their fourth game in 4 days, but New Mexico State's had turnover issues this weseason. Now they weren't really bothered by it in the first meeting in the regular season, but I think it could come back to haunt them here. So I like ACU +5.5.
Yeah, I've watched. Oh, go ahead.
62 turnovers they forced, over 20 per game in the WAC tournament. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's crazy. I've watched both the last two games of Abilene. I've just been so impressed. Like they're just tough as nails. They knocked down a ton of late free throws yesterday to keep Seattle at bay. Darian Trammell had 39 and Seattle didn't win. Like that tells you how well Abilene must have played.
Jeez.
So yeah, impressed with them. I would lean towards taking the points there. We have not hit the Southland final. I can take this one since I wrote it up for All Action Network. Texas A&M Corpus Christi, Southeast Louisiana. Again, shocking. I like the under, almost the best bet, but not going to take it. Both these teams played their slowest game yesterday since like mid-January. Slowest non-incarnate word game, I guess, since mid-January. But they were playing like fellow fast teams, and the game just slowed down. And if you go back to the pre-conference tournament, when they played in January, the third day for every team, every under hit. So I think the back-to-backs catch up with these teams that are all like effort, energy, attack the rim, press on defense. I think it really slows down. So I like the under. Sidewise, maybe a slight lean to Corpus Christi. I think they dominate the offensive glass, but Southeast Louisiana also won that pre-conference tournament. So they're certainly experienced winning these types of events. Matt, I think the last question in the chat is the Big West final. We haven't hit it yet. The Beach Boys won on a wild buzzer beater last night. Really tough shot by Jaden Jones. They're taking on Fullerton, who survived against Hawaii. What do you think?
I'm with the Beach Boys here, Jim. Money seems to disagree with me. It's been bet up to Fullerton. It's small favorite now, but did they sweep Fullerton? They beat them once for sure. I think they only played one time. I like Beach, man. I think their talent's legit. Sometimes they get a little too helter-skelter for me in transition, but they just kind of have that mojo right now. So I want to see Beach in my field. Let's go Beach.
Yeah, I think I prefer Beach over Fullerton, but yeah, they're both solid. It's not the tournament I expected to see the 1 versus the 2 seed in the final. I thought I'd get all kinds of upsets there, and instead, chalk. Okay. Did I redeem myself on the chat, guys?
Yeah, it's a nice comeback. It really was.
You did, Jim. I think we hit every game.
Yeah. Did we hit every game? Awesome. Proud
Pretty
of us.
sure. Maybe not Penn Yale. Eileen Penn. Boom. Done.
Yeah, probably do too. Okay, time. Let's recap best bets, hey?
My best bets were Monmouth +3 and Indiana +5.5.
Boom. Mine were the Mountain West title game, under 117, Boise State, San Diego State, and the CUSA title game, Louisiana Tech, UAB, under 135. Matthew.
Richmond +2, Nova first half -3.5. Let's go Wildcats and Itsy Bitsy Spiders. Arachnids, assemble. That does it. That's our show today, folks. We are coming to you tomorrow on the day of all days. The holy day is the Sabbath, Kai. That's at 10 a.m. Central Tip Time. Is that correct? Is that 10:15? Same time as today?
10:15. Yes, sir.
Same as today. But hey, we'll say 10 just in case you guys get there 15 minutes early. You can load up the chat and all the questions for us. Championship Sunday, Selection Sunday. It comes tomorrow. Come back and join us. Until that time, have a great St. Patrick's Day and good luck on your wagers.